Hi, I'm Jennifer Wild, and you're listening to Sober Exposure. If it's about recovery, we're gonna cover it. It's like one big therapy session, but it's free. So thanks for joining our dysfunctional family as we uncover recovery with Sober Exposure. Let's go. All right, welcome to Sober Exposure. I am Jennifer Wild, and I am so psyched for this because I'm going to learn so much. I'm always the know-it-all, and I'm always talking my shit, but this is something that I have a lot to learn about. And so I invited Dominique to Vita, and she is, first of all, the song that comes to my head is, "Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about sex, baby." Dominique DeVita she's a wellness coach, self-help coach, and Tantra expert. And I first heard this word in the 90s because there was actually a rock band. Everything in my life contributes to rock and roll in some way, shape, or form. And there was a rock and roll band called Tantra. And I'm like, I interviewed them and I asked them what it is. And they're like, oh, it's like a yoga sex. So in recovery for alcoholics, it's really hard to get back into the sex game because we're so used to being fucked up when we have sex that it's like, oh my God, now I'm sober, I'm stripped down and everything is real, And so I can speak for a lot of alcoholics out there that it's hard to get back into, a sexual relationship and feel comfortable. I know that was an issue with me, like sober sex. Now I can't even imagine having sex fucked up. And Dominique, you show us your shirt. Tell us about what you told me about your sex life, and then tell us just everything about you. I'm shutting up. I'm handing over to you. You got to teach me some stuff, girl.
Amazing. I'm here for it. Hi, everyone. Dominique DeVita. I'm a registered nurse, Tantra coach, and sexpert. And I have this shirt says sexual intellectual. Funny thing about this shirt is decades ago, because I'm also in my 50s, Jen. And decades ago, when I was 26 to 30, I worked for a plastic surgeon and I would help him do surgery, suture, and everything. And in surgery, I would actually give sex tips to everyone. So one time my surgeon was joking with me and he was like, you know what you are? You're a sexual intellectual. And I was like, oh, really? He's like, yeah, you know what that is? I was like, no. He was like, it's a fucking know-it-all. And you just said fucking know-it-all. So I was like, this all ties together so perfectly. But yes, I was just sharing with Jen, I'm so glad to have this conversation because I actually have only ever had sober sex. I've never had sex under the influence of alcohol. And my reason that I didn't is just because my mother was an alcoholic and it has been in my family history for generation after generation passed down. And she swore she wasn't going to be like her mom and have this challenge. And then when she was on 38, she started drinking and that was it for her. That is what ended up doing her in. She never could overcome that. So I really want to applaud you and everyone else listening that's overcome this challenge because I've seen firsthand how hard this is and on so many levels. And so I just never had sex under the influence of alcohol. When I was in high school and I was a virgin, I got drunk before, of course. But I just never.
Wait, you were a virgin in high school? No, I'm just kidding.
I know, right? Barely. I mean, I was a virgin in high school, but I graduated pregnant. So, that's a whole other story within itself. It was someone I had dated since I was 15.
Wow.
Anyway, so I never had sex under the influence and I just didn't need liquid courage. And I have if I go out dancing, I'll be the first one on the dance floor, on the speaker. Actually, on a dare with a friend, I was at a strip club and I stripped sober. She was like, you should just have some drinks. It took me a few hours to get my courage up. And I was like, I'm just going to do it, because if I can't do it sober, then I shouldn't do it. That was just how I felt. And I even danced on stage once with LL Cool J. I did all these things.
Really?
Completely sober.
Naked? Were you naked when you danced it all?
No, not naked there.
There you were fully clothed.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was clothed that time. But yeah, so I just have been this person that I just haven't needed that. And I've actually been thinking maybe I would like to try Tipsy just to see what the difference is. Cause I have amazing sex sober. So if anyone wants to know how to have epic sober sex, I can help you out with that. Cause my sex is already so much better than most of my friends. And I was having these amazing experiences sober. So I'm excited to talk more about this.
Yeah. So yeah, my problem is I have the 2-year rule that when I'm with a partner after 2 years, I'm tired of you. I don't care if you're friggin' who you are. Like everybody knows the love of my life is Dave Grohl, the Foo Fighters. I guarantee you, if I was having sex with Dave Grohl of the Foo Fighters for after 2 years, I'd be sick of him. I'd get sick of Bradley Cooper. It doesn't matter who you are. After 2 years, I'm bored. So we need to kick it up and do some things to keep it hot. So when I heard about this, I was like, this is something that I really want to explore because I'm really into meditation. I'm really into yoga, and Tantra sex, to my understanding, is a form of yoga.
Yeah. Tantra is the yoga of sex and love.
Okay. So tell me, where do I learn it? How do I do it? Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it.
And I also want to share something with you on the 2-year mark, what you're experiencing. I can't think of the name of it right now, but there's a specific hormone or a neurotransmitter or something that is released when we're in a new relationship, and it makes us really bond to the person that we're with. It's not oxytocin. That is a bonding hormone, but there's this other thing. I don't know if it's IPA. I just cannot think of it. I was talking to a neurologist the other day about this and in Clubhouse, and he was sharing about it. And he was saying that, and then I read on it, and it was like, the reason we do that is we bond. So in case we had children, that we would stay committed in that relationship to help children when they're younger. But at about 2 to 3 years, that hormone starts to taper off,
diminish.
Yes. And then you can have where you're not as attracted to your partner, because at first nature for the species to continue needs us to stay paired together for a while. So it's like this pairing.
Wow, that's interesting.
Chemical.
They need to come up with a pill that, once you're in a 2-year relationship and you're done, take this pill and that hormone will be released or whatever it is. So you're not repulsed by your partner.
At 2 years. And then when you have the 7-year itch, you just have to have your dose. But if you have Tantra, you're actually able to enhance the sex. I actually have a client of mine that whenever we first started working together, he was having challenges with erections, and he was taking Viagra, and Viagra wasn't helping him. And he was in his 60s, and he had high blood pressure, diabetes, some things like that. And then when I worked with him, his wife was too shy. She was supportive of him working with me, but she was a little too shy to work with me and talk to me about these things, but she was really supportive. So in our sessions, he would be like, I want to thank you. And my wife says to thank you, because their sex life started getting better. And then one thing I teach my male clients how to do is the really peak performance is how to separate their orgasm from their ejaculation so they can be multi-orgasmic and have stamina for hours. And then
let's go back.
Yes. So I want to say real quick, this man is now having better sex with his wife in 60 than when they were 30. And that's amazing. Is like literally goals. We think that it has to change, but once you start having Tantra, you start having sex with someone on a soul level, and that you have Soulgasms. It's so intense. It's just taking your sex life to all new heights and levels and experiencing things you never imagined possible.
Yeah. I want a Soulgasm. I've had enough orgasms. I've had enough. I want a Soulgasm.
Yes. Dominique, life-changing.
How do I have a Soulgasm? How?
Oh, I know. It is a process, but one of the things you want to think about is so often in our society, we never have these conversations. We're not educated properly about sex. So then we look at porn on how to have sex, and that kind of dumbs us down. It limits us and doesn't share with us what's fully possible. And then whenever, so it's so limiting, right? And so then we want to have like these deep connections, but we only know how to experience sex or relationships on this surface level, skin to skin level with someone. And so how often are we having sex and we're not comfortable having intimacy? We're not comfortable looking at someone and our lover in the eyes when we're having sex. That can be really edgy for so many people. Mm-hmm. And so we have all the walls up, we have the masks on, we're not fully allowing our lover to see us, and we're not fully seeing our lover, right? So whenever we're able to connect with a lover on a soul level and have sex with even the energy centers, or in Tantra, it's called the Chakras, the energy centers in your body. Yeah, whenever you're doing that and you're connecting with your chakras, you're connecting with eye gazing and with intimacy, and you're able to fully hold space for your partner and drop in and connect, that is a game changer. And that's when you can have soulgasms, because you feel like that those orgasms will rock you to the core of your very essence. And for me, it was just life changing. I had like a Kundalini awakening through a Tantra experience. So the Kundalini energy at the base, at the root chakra, it's like a serpentine, like a snake energy, and it goes all the way up. And my third eye and my crown chakra open. And I had I just was like, oh, Tantra sex, great. When I thought about it initially, like, oh, Sting having sex for hours, that sounds awesome. But when you're with someone soul to soul, and you're not, it's just not your egos meeting up in the bed or being performative or caught up in positions, and you're really connected.
Yeah.
It is like sexual healing that Marvin Gaye sings about.
It's awesome. Okay, a couple questions. Let's face it. I mean, a lot of times, I'm going to speak for myself. It's a lot of it's about ego and performance. Do you know what I mean? Like, am I doing that? You know, I want to be the best, you know, I want to be hot. I want to be the best. And I'm so worried about performance that I lose all the sense myself, because I'm putting on a show, so to speak. And that usually is when I'm in the beginning of a relationship. At this point now, it's just like, I lay back, like, yeah, do what you got to do your thing. And that, you know, so if I want to practice this, number one thing is look into the partner's eyes. Some of our listeners might not know. I mean, I'm very in tune with chakras and everything, but how do you connect the chakras, and how would you explain how to do that to a novice, someone that doesn't know anything about that?
Great questions. Great questions. So your energy centers are in your body are your chakras. And we have in our main body, we have 7 chakra energy centers. And now they've actually, and this has been mapped out from thousands of years ago, ancient wisdom, that we had these energy centers. But now in modern technology, they actually injected some isotopes, and they're like these little spinning wheels. They're called vortexes. And so what happened is they injected the isotope, and actually on the scan, they could see energy. These areas on the body were actually lighting up. But it's not like an organ or something that you could tangibly touch, right? It's almost like, you know, whenever you have your soul, and your soul is here in your body, but it's not like you can like see your soul on a scan or see it, but you have a soul, and these are like your energy centers are really connected in with you. And each energy center helps with that certain area of your body, like your throat chakra. If your throat chakra is blocked, you'll have challenges saying your yes or your no, and having healthy boundaries, or speaking your needs, sharing what your desires are. What are you wanting to experience with a lover? Being able to say these things is your throat chakra. If your heart chakra is blocked, you'll have more walls and armor up, because you don't want to be hurt. And so often from mother, father wound, past lovers, we have traumas stored in our body, and we don't want to hurt again. So we start to put our defenses up and our walls up, but these walls are actually, instead of keeping the pain out, they're actually almost blocking a lot of the good things coming in. And then we have energy centers in our sex organs, and our root chakra, our sacral chakra is our sexual energy center. And so in the area it does impact the organ systems around there. So whenever you're able to do practices with white tantra, it's practices with breath work and meditation, that helps you to get your chakras functioning more properly with these breathing practices. And the energy, instead of the energy staying stagnant and stuck in your body, even dancing helps move your energy around. If you notice too, whenever you dance, you can feel more aroused or turned on, because like you're getting all your energies moving, right? And so, and in the meditation is so important, because our brain is the largest sex organ. And so orgasm actually happens in the brain, but because of our monkey mind, or us being distracted, or feeling performative, I really love that you share that. And especially so many females feel, especially because of porn and how porn is so performance based, they're thinking, oh, that's what I need to do. Yes. Right. And so what's happening is, whenever you're able to be in a meditative and have a meditative mind, and not let the monkey mind distract you from like the laundry list of things that you forgot to do, or the dirty laundry in the corner, or whatever the fuck is like distracting you.
Or I'm embarrassed, or I have a zit on my vagina. I mean, you know, anything. It could ruin, you know what I mean? Anything.
Yeah. So what's so powerful with Tantra too is it's these tools, and it's the sequence of things that you need to do and start working on. It's not like you're going to go to the gym, or I'm going to say one thing to you, and then it's like, oh, now I have a 6-pack of abs. Like you have to do the inner work. It's like your inner fitness, your energetic body. You have to do these things. And it's really,
It's a practice, like
It
yoga.
is
It's a
definitely
practice.
a practice, and that's why it is like the yoga of sex, right? And so you're actually able, then you're get really sensitive within your energies, and you actually, for me, when I was with a lover I had been with for quite a while, and I was studying more with Tantra, getting my certification to be a Tantra coach, and he was doing a lot of like fasting, and he's became vegan. And your energy, because when you eat heavy, dense foods that are always digesting, you're always constantly digesting meat all of the time. Eating meat sometimes is okay, fine, that's a personal decision, but just know it takes a long time for meat to digest in your stomach. And so then all your blood flow is being pulled away from your sex organs into your gut to digest your food. So even my male clients that will eat less, more plant-based, they have like their penis size is bigger. They're like because they're getting more blood flow.
Did you hear that, babe? You got to go back. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
And so, that was really powerful. But then he was doing his meditation, his practices. And then all of a sudden we were together, he had ejaculation control and we would have sex for hours. And then all of a sudden when we would do missionary position, which I always would joke that was like the lamest position.
Yeah.
Whenever we would do that, all of a sudden he would orgasm really quick and ejaculate. And he just jumped off the bed one time and he was shaking his head. He was like, what the fuck just happened? You know what I mean? Because then for years, like that never was a challenge. And I thought about it. I was like, oh, it's because our chakras were lined up in missionary position and our energy centers are matching. And now that we've got our energy flowing, because when you eat dense food, heavy food, foods that really weigh you down, your energy doesn't flow as freely, right? So that's why I was talking about the meat. So he had been eating less and that energy was flowing. I was doing my breathwork practices. And then that ended up being like one of the most exciting positions for us. I was like, how is this like all of a sudden the best fucking position? I was poof, mind blown. And we were like, okay, we need to save this position for last. Like we can switch into other positions. And then when we're ready to, or if you're, then we'll do the missionary. So it's really changed everything up so much. So
let me tell you what my challenge is with my partner. He is so not into chakras, meditation, breath work. I mean, the furthest thing from it. So if I were to say, let's align chakras, babe, I mean, he doesn't know how. He just doesn't. I mean, I'm sitting there with my singing bowls. I'm meditating. I got everything. I'm like, om, and doing like a beautiful ceremony or some sort of prayer. And he's on the bed and I'm just doing it, like blessing something. I was like, wasn't that beautiful? I'll be like, what? He'll take his ear pod out. He's just so disconnected. So what do you say to someone who is, awoke and their partner is not? What do we do?
I love how you said that. Take notes, producer. No, so what? I love this. So the way we, in relationship, the way we show up also can have a ripple effect and an impact on our lover, right? So a lot of times when I have someone that wants to work with me and they're a couple, and if their partner is reluctant or not interested, just them doing the work with me can shift things up and change things and start making the sex better. Again, that's why for me personally, though, Tantra kind of fucked up my sex life for a little bit because I started having the awareness of energy. And so then I wasn't wanting to really be with lovers unless they were sensitive to energy and that they had that awareness and understanding. And then I also be like, my new rule of thumb was, because I realized I can't put a body condom on someone and protect myself from their bad vibes. And I'm not saying this person you're with has bad vibes, but I just can't protect myself if they're not doing their work, if they're self-loathing, they don't have good self-love, if they're just a negative person. Like, I don't need that in my most intimate spaces is something that I've learned. And so I'm just like, I'm not going to be with anyone unless I would like to be like that person. So I like to be with people that inspire me or have my partners be where they understand energy. And they're kind of like, I want them to be woke. Like I need them to have a decalcified pineal gland. I need them, that's my personal preference. But if you invite them to try some things and even just doing a breath work or just even to start meditating, not only will it help improve the sex, but meditation will improve their daily life and help them to connect. Because what's happening so much is we live in the logical mind, and a lot of males are more in their logical mind, and we are disconnected from the body. And Tantra gives you tools so that you can drop from the logical mind and tap into all of your five senses and start experiencing sex and pleasure within your body, and with an invitation of inviting all your five senses to engage. and really being able to experience sex in a whole different way, in a deeper way.
So give me a Tantra 101. Like, what would I do? I'd be like, okay, baby, come here. Let's look into each other's eyes and maybe held hands. And do you meditate first together or do you meditate before? I mean,
Yes. You can do your meditation practices on your own, but you can sit, and there's a position called Yabyum where like the male is sitting crossed with their legs crossed, and then the female just kind of straddles and puts their legs around them. And then what happens is your chakras are aligned. You're like heart to heart. And you can eye gaze as well. And first you can just embrace each other and give each other a hug and wrap your arms around each other, and then just start to have nice deep breaths, because breaths are like love notes to your body, right? And that gets the sexual energy going. So you just want to take nice deep breaths and match their breathing. Just have him, like you could do deep breathing and have him follow your breath. And then take a moment and do eye gazing, where you look into each other's left eye, because that's the receptive eye. And you just gaze into the left eye. And if you may blink sometimes, that's okay. And just, look at each other and continue with the breathing, and then just see what you can feel in that moment. And that starts to help you drop in.
I got a feeling like when you were explaining all that, I was picturing it. I was looking into your left eye. So I don't know, maybe like I'm hot for you too, but no, hey, whatever.
Let's go, Jen.
Yeah, man. Yeah. When you were explaining that, I mean, it was really beautiful. And here's what came to mind. Like, I really did feel something. I did. I was picturing my partner, and I was picturing, and then it was like, but no, I don't want to do that because I'm blocked. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's.
Where are you blocked though? Where are you blocked when you say that?
I guess I don't want to let anybody in.
Yes.
If I do that, I'm letting you
chakra
in. I'm taking down all my.
I know that's uncomfortable. And that can also be another thing where we have these intimacy blocks. And that's why it's so much easier to have sex with alcohol, because we don't have to face our intimacy blocks or our fears. And so that's why we keep all these walls, and we can just be so disconnected in sex. So then even at the 2-year mark, it might be like, all right, we need to do something deeper to take it to a deeper level. And it's time to drop the armor, drop the mask, drop the walls, and fully allow yourself to be seen by your lover, and fully embrace seeing them and accepting them for who they are, and being able to drop in and have this deep presence is really beautiful and powerful. But if you're not ready for that, then you can be like, okay, next, I'm done. I'm ready to go on. I'm not interested in this anymore. And that can actually be your fear coming up, and your fear of working through that intimacy block. And so many people have a block in their heart chakra, so many of us. And that's one thing that I guide my clients on, is how to open up the heart chakra. And in my intro to Tantra course, it's going into opening up the heart chakra and all these different practices that you can do, because that is the way that you're actually going to start to feel more pleasure as a woman. We become more orgasmic when our heart chakra is open, because there's a connection between our heart space, actually even in our throat space. If you look at a cross section of the throat, it looks very much like the pelvic floor. So there's a connection between the throat and our pelvic floor and the vagina. There's a connection between the heart and our vagina. So whenever our heart space is more open, in Sanskrit and from India in Tantra, the vagina is called and the vulva is called the yoni. It's a sacred space. And
Yomi, it's yummy. That's easy to remember. My vagina is yummy.
Yes.
It's yomi. Okay.
Oh, it's yoni. It's YONI. And then whenever our heart opens up more and we drop those fears, then our yoni opens up more, and then the orgasms flow. And that's when you can even have the deeper orgasms, the G-spot orgasms. Things get so much juicier whenever we're able to be in that open space. And to be with a lover that is really, a lot of times especially as females, we're very intuitive. So sometimes, I don't know if I've had this experience before, but sometimes it would feel, sometimes when I have sex, like a past lover of mine would be just like masturbating inside of my body. Like they're not connected to me. They're in their own fantasy land, whatever. Yeah. And I'm just like the living sex doll, right? Whatever. And so many times we can approach sex that way, from that space. And whenever you can be with a lover and they're actually able to fully hold space for you and give you attention and worship and honor you as the goddess, and be fully dropped in and allow you to see them and them to see you. Wow, that is hot as fuck when you experience that. It's all new levels, but it takes the work to get past the fears. My heart chakra was blocked. I had to work on those things. And the more I put into this work, like the better my sex life gets. And the purpose of Tantra is really, Tantra in Sanskrit means like a weaving or a looming. And it also means like to expand your consciousness or for expansion. And thousands of years ago, these practices were used by the monks and stuff and people that were trying to have enlightenment. So they were using these tools and opening up using their sexual energy and their life force energy to open up their energy centers and have, their crown chakra open and be more in these enlightened states. And females were not even allowed to do these practices back in that time period. And this was, and this was just, and even they did not, these practices also are similar to Taoist practices in China, and the emperors would use these practices as well. And they would not let the common people know these things. And it was just used for the people that were in power, because this is very empowering practice.
Yeah.
It's called sexual transmutation. If anyone here has read the book by Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, chapter 11 is called The Mystery of Sexual Transmutation. And these techniques were used by Nikola Tesla, Steve Jobs, Thomas Edison to tap into their creative genius. And it's even documented that Nikola Tesla did spend some time in India. So I believe that he had learned these practices, right? And so when he was there, and so this is available to all of us. In that book, it doesn't tell you how to do that, but that's what I guide my clients on, how to focus your sexual energy towards what you want to create in your life.
What's the name of the book again? In case we didn't get it.
It's okay. It's by Napoleon Hill. It's called Think and Grow Rich, and it's the bestseller. It's one of the top 5 books ever for like business and success. And it was published in the 1930s. And this person interviewed all the most successful people in that time period, and Andrew Carnegie, Ford, like all these people that were doing amazing things, Abraham Lincoln. And he interviewed over 100 people and what was making them most successful. And this book is kind of like a blueprint, a guide to being successful. And chapter 11 was because a lot of people understood how to focus their sexual energy. And so a lot of people, we're not aware that we don't have to just create a life with our sexual energy. We were created from it, right? So if we were to channel this energy into creating the life we want, we can. So we don't have to create like a human with it. We can create, it brought us into existence, and we can tap into the existence we're wanting to experience by tapping into that power. We're so disconnected from our sexual energy centers because there's shame around sex or shame about these things, and we disconnect, or we are afraid of the power of it, and we're disconnecting from our power source.
Wow. This is it. I mean, Dominique, you are the real deal. This is the real deal, this stuff. Yeah. And the emotion, what was it that you call, there was a scenario that I had when I was talking about how I block. What did you say it was?
Your heart chakra is blocked.
No, yeah, okay. But there was a word that you said. What intimacy block. Yeah. I've had intimacy blocks my entire life, and I think it is due to trauma.
That makes sense.
Yeah, trauma.
It's more common than you realize.
When I was 16, the guy I was in love with, I found him in bed with another girl, and then, he gave me crabs, and then I slept with him in my parents' room, and then we gave crab to my parents. So anyway, isn't that an awesome story? I love that story.
Oh my gosh. Your parents. Oh my God.
So yeah. So, opening up, let's just talk about opening up the heart chakra, real quick.
Yes.
How do you do that? I know how I do it, but I know a lot of people that are listening. They're like, well, where do I start? Like some of my listeners don't even meditate. They don't even know how to, like, they're probably like, what do I do to meditate?
Okay. So first thing first, meditation. If you're wanting to learn to meditate, I was so challenged with that. I was like, oh my gosh, I just cannot do this. I was getting pissed off. I was like, how am I not supposed to have thoughts in my head? Like I have a very creative brain. And I was like, how am I going to do this? And I was just like, I just can't do it. And then I confided in one of my friends that I was doing my Tantra training with. I was just like, I'm so frustrated. And she was like, use Headspace app. That was a lifesaver. So Headspace, HEAD like head, Headspace. If you sign up for that, you can get the first 10 for free, and you can just repeat those. And it actually has little lessons to help you to understand how to meditate. And it's very cleverly done. It's very popular. I would definitely check that out and try that to start meditating. And then with the heart chakra, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to do things like I have my clients do. I guide them through this pink heart Tantra meditation whenever I work with my clients and in my programs. But another thing you're going to want to do is even just putting your hand on your heart. Let's just try this real quick for a moment. Okay. Just put your hands on your heart. And just drop into your body and just close your eyes for a moment and just take a nice, long, slow, deep inhale through your nose. Letting your belly expand with air like a balloon, and nice, long, slow exhale through your mouth. Again, don't do this if you're driving, of course. Nice, long, slow inhale through your nose. Long, slow, deep inhale through your mouth. Just pause here for a moment and just feel into your heart space. And just touch helps us connect with our bodies. And even touching around the heart space releases oxytocin, the love and bonding hormone, helping you feel safe. You can even massage that area. You just keep your hands here. And then when you breathe in again, let your shoulders go back a little bit and imagine that you